Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker. Ahead on the program, basketball playoff previews and indoor state track and field champions. But first, heading into the 28th annual Washington County Public Schools Wrestling Tournament, all 5 teams might have had their respective eyes on the prize, but it's safe to say that no team was more confident than Williamsport that the Clyde Downs Trophy would be leaving Boonesboro with the Wildcats. And I say that only because of what was said right here on this show a month before the tourney by Williamsport co-captain Cody Crawford.
To speak for the team, we're going to bring that trophy home this year.
All right, well,
we're going to bring that home, and I think as a team we're going to do good, and individually we're going to have a lot of good county champions. And
no, he didn't stutter. Crawford proclaimed the Wildcats were going to bring Clyde home. And by the time the championship finals started on Saturday, Williamsport had all but dotted the I's and crossed the T's on securing custody of Clyde and ending his 4-year stay at 1200 Pennsylvania Avenue in Hagerstown. After all, the Cats had already won the numbers game with more guys, 8 of them altogether, wrestling for individual titles than any other school. A deal made even bigger because the defending champs and team who entered the finals closest to Williamsport in the standings, North, had the fewest with 4. And Crawford's teammates weren't about to make him eat his words of prediction. A pair of sophomores had the seniors back, starting with Zayden Meyer, who set the tone by shutting out Boonesboro freshman Brandon Longerbeam 7-0 to capture the 106-pound title. At 195, Brandon Oyster needed just 77 seconds to handle his business, pinning Smithsburg senior Chris Miller to win his first county championship. Speaking of which, junior Taquan Johnson, a first-year Wildcat, pinned Hub senior Randy Robinson with 8 seconds remaining in the first period to claim the 285-pound title for Williamsport. But before that, it was a repeat feat by a fellow senior that officially clinched Crawford's Cats' possession of the coveted Clyde Downs Trophy. That came in the championship final at 126 when Bryce Palomar became a 2-time county champ, besting Boonesboro sophomore Trenton Huntsberry 4-0. And thus, just like a certain larger-than-life football personality of yesteryear who just happened to guarantee his upstart New York Jets would defeat the heavily favored Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III and then went out and quarterbacked them to that brashly predicted victory, while Broadway Cody doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, Coach Rektorovic hit Crawford with that comparison.
As he's saying, Joe Namath, he was telling me all these last 2 weeks I was Joe Namath for saying that we were going to bring Clyde home. And so I figured, our team had to bring it home. And, we're going to move on to regionals and states. And individually, we need to keep wrestling smart.
I listened to Cody. He would seem to be a prophet. Oh, as for his performance, Crawford drew South Hagerstown sophomore Caleb Everhart in the 132-pound final. And with each wrestler seeking his first county crown, well, I'll let Cody sum up how it went.
Yeah, Caleb's a great wrestler, he is, and he went back and forth with Bryce Palomar all year, and so I knew I wasn't going to be an easy match, but I went out there and wrestled my match and happened to catch him in a good move, so capitalized on that.
As for the Williamsport team effort that produced 183.5 total points, Crawford was matter of fact.
We knew coming in it was going to be tough, especially losing Nate, but I figured, if we kept wrestling how we were all year, and we came in here and, stayed off our back and won the matches we needed to, that we could come away with a win.
And now that they had won, there was one more reprise of the battle cry that had focused the Wildcats to accomplish their collective goal.
Bring Clyde home! Bring Clyde home! Bring Clyde home! Bring Clyde home! Bring Clyde home!
Williamsport brings Clyde home for the 11th time in school history, tying North Hagerstown for the most county tournament victories ever. As for the Hubs on Saturday, they finished second, 37.5 points behind the Cats. North actually ended up with more third place or better finishers with 11, one more than Williamsport, but the difference was that 7 of North's 11 finished third versus 8 of 10 Wildcats placing first or second. North sophomore Tyler Cook in his first county tourney came out on top in the tightest bout of the finals, edging Smithsburg senior Shane Havermail in sudden victory overtime 2-0 in the 113-pound weight class. Hub senior Justin Balsita also scored a 2-point decision over a Leopard. Balsita reversed Smithsburg sophomore Josh Hood in the last 10 seconds to pull out a 4-2 win in the 120-pound championship bout. After 42 days away from competition due to a broken foot, North's Aaron Brooks was back in action, vying for the title at 182. I asked him afterwards what it was like to be back on the mat.
It felt really good to be back. I think coming into counties, I wasn't going to, but I think it was actually a good decision to, get some rounds in before heading into regionals. So it felt good to be back, get back in the zone and flow a little bit. But it's fun to be back in the atmosphere, definitely. So definitely missed it.
Unfortunately for Brooks' opponent, Boonesboro senior Peter Riley, what the Hub senior hadn't missed was a beat. Even though Brooks' lateral movement was somewhat limited, his ability to move forward was unaffected. In 42 seconds into the second period, he showed that he hasn't forgotten how to pin, dashing Riley's dreams of a second straight county championship while becoming only the 16th four-time county champ of all time, an achievement the all-world Brooks puts into local perspective.
It's like a hometown thing, something that you can show to everybody in the hometown. Like other awards you can, but this one's, kind of like a Hagerstown thing. It's for Hagerstown, It's out of the county, so this one's for North High.
By the way, Aaron joins Brendan Colbert as just the second four-time county champ to have wrestled in a North Hagerstown singlet all 4 years he won a county title. With Brooks' return at what he told me was about 90%, the Hubs did something they failed to do in the regular season for the first time in a quarter of a century, outdistance South, although the margin of separation on Saturday was just 5 points. Even so, when the day ended, there were just as many individual titleists wearing red as there were wearing green, and each of those Rebels captured crowns for the second year in succession. South Hagerstown senior Derek Hanna was the first to repeat. Hanna, who was the 2017 champ at 138 pounds when he defeated Williamsport's Trent Gross, created a little deja vu when he outscored the Wildcat senior 8-3 this year to claim the title at 145. At 170, the Rebels' Nick Kelbaugh is now 2 for 2 at the county tourney. The sophomore pinned Williamsport senior Hayden Pendley with 19 seconds remaining in the opening period to turn that trick. And in a matchup that pitted two guys who each entered with just one loss on their respective records, it was South senior Sean King Pombo who proved superior over Boonesboro junior Tristan Cook. King Pombo denied Cook his second consecutive county title with a pin a minute 8 seconds into the first period, enabling King Pombo to add this year's 220-pound championship to last year's 285-pound crown. It was 152 part duh for Smithsburg's Josh Atkinson when the Leopard Junior pinned South Hagerstown senior Austin Dyson late in the second period. Atkinson doubled up on 152-pound championships, securing the title in that weight class for a second year in a row. Teammate Brendan Mislin had become the first Leopard title holder of the day when he doubled the score to prevail in a battle of juniors 12-6 over South Hagerstown's Reese Jenkins at 138. And at 160, the lone warrior to come out on top in his home gym held on by the slimmest of margins. Boonesboro went just 1 for 5 in championship finals bouts, but fittingly, it was big match Max Christ who was the one, edging Williamsport junior Doris Morton 3-2 and ensuring that for the third straight year, each of the 5 county schools boasted at least one individual champion. Congratulations to all of our county champs, and now it's on to regionals this Friday and Saturday. Boonesboro hosts 1A, 2A West, which includes Smithsburg and Williamsport, while North and South Hagerstown head to Clarksburg for 3A, 4A West competition. Best of luck to our county guys in their quest to qualify for states. On the topic of states, indoor track and field crowned its champions this week, and county athletes went panning for gold in Landover. I'll show and tell you who brought it home after this.
Champions are not merely born, they're forged in the crucible that is flag football. With equal parts turf, pigskin, and heart. That's why Buffalo Wild Wings donates to boys and girls clubs across the country to not only help thousands of kids learn about teamwork on and off the field, but to help them fulfill their destiny. To shred defensive lines, terrorize the secondary, and emerge bonded as true champions.
Labor's Office Furniture now has a large selection of in-stock FlexSteel home furnishings. After 43 years of establishing itself as the place to find top brand office furniture at warehouse prices, great deals on FlexSteel home furnishings have come home to Labor's. Stop in to see Labor's FlexSteel inventory today.
When you're sick or hurt and can't be seen by your regular doctor, you just want to feel better faster. Make a convenient appointment or simply walk into Meritus Urgent Care, where you can receive attention from our caring professionals, from sprains and strains to sore throats, earaches, and other ailments that are not life-threatening. Meritus Urgent Care has you covered with on-site labs and x-rays and much more. We're conveniently located on Pennsylvania Avenue in Hagerstown at the Sylvania Center. Feel better faster with Meritus Urgent Care.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. It was fitting for the Boonesboro boys that the 1A State Indoor Track and Field Championships were contested on President's Day. After all, what better day of the year for the Warriors to attempt to add their visages to the Mount Rushmore that represents the short list of repeat state titleists. And for junior Donovan McClellan, who would leave the Prince George's Sports and Learning Center with 3 gold medals, the first one individually coming in a rallying personal best of 1 minute, 7.55 seconds in the 500-meter run, followed by a blazing 1A state record time of 2 minutes, 0.27 seconds to capture the title in the 800. The way he started the day and what he accomplished with Joey Brennan, Will Stan, and Levi Mason just might have been the key to it all.
Starting the day off with the 4x8 win, that was pretty nice. We just got a picture with the team over here, and that put a little bit of confidence in me for the rest of the day. And certainly they ran hard so that I wouldn't have to run as hard, so that I could do better in the rest of the races.
So when the final race, the 4x400 relay, rolled around and his team was clinging to a precarious 9-point lead over second place Lackey, how did he react knowing he would be running the all-important anchor leg with the state championship on the line?
Honestly, I was a little too tired to be paying attention. Cutstill came over to us in the bullpen, and he was like, guys, it's really close. It's going to come down to this race. So we all immediately knew, let's just put it all out there and see what we can do for the team.
And what Bryce Cholwicki, Billy Anderson, Ben Hardings, and McClellan did for the team was clinch a second straight state title on the strength of a 5th place finish by 3 points, which enabled repeat 1A state shot put champ Nick Kidwell to rate the day a complete success.
10 out of 10. I mean, individual state title and team state title, but it came down to the 4x4, but got it.
And as for Nick getting his second successive indoor gold,
going into it, I was kind of a slump the past couple weeks. I've been a little sick, but today I had a couple good throws. I mean, the last one was just, it was great. I mean, 55.5, school record, county record. I mean, first place state champion. I mean, can't get any better than that.
I'm attributing Kidwell's success to our cantaloupe training. Is it a mere coincidence that the record came after that? I think not. However, I can't take credit for what Williamsport's Michaela Klein accomplished in the girls' 2A shot put. The county title holder had something to prove after coming up short at regionals, and her path to gold at states was paved with the right mindset.
I had a lot of confidence in me. I felt pretty good going into it, and I ended pretty great.
But getting to the point where she could wear that big smile was a bit of a roller coaster ride for the Wildcat senior.
My first throw was a little on the iffy side, but then my second throw was a little better. I got back in the 35s, and then I felt a little more confident, and then I popped the 36, and I was like, I'm happy.
Back in 1A, it was a bittersweet brand of happiness experienced by Boonesboro's Cameron Harper.
So first we had the 4x8, and my coach and I, we were just talking about some different strategies and things to do, so that way I could have the easiest amount of stress on my body for this first event, since I've got 3 others coming as well. So, I feel like we just executed that plan perfectly. So it's always great to have the gold in that one. 500 came, and just wanted to defend that title and have that three-peat right there. But came into the 800, I felt strong, and I'm proud of what I did. Unfortunately, couldn't get the gold today, but it's always great to run against some great competition. So I'm proud of that, and then finished off with the 4x4. Again, having a strong leg, and it's a great way to end the senior year.
But for the first time in 3 years, the Boonesboro girls didn't leave Landover with the team gold, something Harper says they'll use as incentive heading into the spring season.
Big motivation, we didn't get the win today, but maybe outdoor something different happens. We just never know, but that's not going to stop us from trying as hard as we can. And
they will. The Warrior girls are the reigning 2-time outdoor champs. But we're not finished indoors just yet. On Tuesday, the reigning 2A state title holder in the 55-meter hurdles sought to become the new 3A state champion in that event. South Hagerstown's Andre Toure, formerly of Oakland Mills, wasn't thinking small, but moving up a classification, he had tempered his expectations. So when the junior prevailed, he was both pleased and reflective.
It means a lot to me, to be honest. Coming in, I didn't really expect like winning states. I expected big. I expected maybe run 7.5. And coming out from the start of the season, I did run 7.5. Then had to up on my bar to 7.4. I ran 7.4. Then I had to up my bar at 7.3. I ran 7.3, and then I was trying to run 7.2 at states, but I couldn't get it. But it's okay. I'm thankful.
Toure's time of 7.35 seconds wasn't a PR, but it was the fastest time by a hurdler at the state championships across all classifications. Over in the high jump, and not surprisingly, the title came down to a pair of rebels. Seniors Nate Moore and Kathan McDonald matched each other jump for jump through 6 feet 4 inches. It was when the bar was raised to 6'6" that McDonald separated himself, something he says is mental as much as physical.
Yeah, I just take it as every bar is the same height, and I just attack.
But as for the physical part and winning out in the back and forth with Moore, the new 3A indoor high jump champ provided a simple explanation.
I fixed my approach. I had a lot more speed coming in, and he just had an off day. I don't know what else to say.
And with the outdoor season ahead, McDonald says that while he's a work in progress, he's far from finished.
I have a lot to fix with my form going over the bar, so there's more to come.
And 4 guys who were more than happy to come home with gold on Tuesday comprised the North Hagerstown 4x800 relay team. Brandon Gassaway, Sage Vipond, Ben Gazzola, and Nate McKenzie set a new county record of 8 minutes, 15.2 seconds in the process. McKenzie's 2-minute 1-second anchor leg helped the team improve from 4th in 2017 to 1st on Tuesday. Congratulations to all of our county state champs. While indoor track and field is a wrap, the basketball postseason is just about to begin. Williamsport head coach Kevin Murphy joins me to preview the girls' playoff draws right after this.
At Hamilton Nissan, we know you've got places to go, so let's travel together. The Nissan Rogue, plenty of room for you, and plenty of room for him. With nearly 40 cubic feet of cargo space, everyone will be using the Rogue for everything, all the time. And on occasion, you'll find an evening for yourselves, and the Nissan Rogue will be right there with you. Hamilton Nissan, let's travel together. Come see us on the Dual Highway.
Kick off the 23rd Western Maryland Blues Fest season with the Cabin Fever Blues Bash, featuring legends of blues and roots rock, the Nighthawks. A roll-up-your-sleeves, drive to the next gig, and night after night make people happy kind of band. So get happy. Get tickets now. Don't miss the Nighthawks. Visit blues-fest.org. The Cabin Fever Blues Bash, March 1st at the Maryland Theater, City Center, Hagerstown.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We continue with basketball now, and the postseason is upon us. The brackets are out, and it's time to talk playoffs. And joining me is Williamsport head coach Kevin Murphy. As we start with the girls, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Wes, for having me.
Well, I'll tell you what, you go 16-6 this season, and let's see, what's your reward for that? The number 4 seed in 2A West Section 2. You do get a home game thanks to winning a coin flip, but outside of that, man, this is not exactly the reward for the season that you've had, or the one that I'm sure you hoped for.
Yeah, it's been a pretty difficult season. The fact that we went into a new conference, and the fact that it was probably our toughest schedule in the last 4 or 5 years, and to come out with 16 wins is huge. You know, we had to play Oakdale twice, Walkersville twice, Middletown twice, and then 4 of the top 5 teams in the state of Maryland and are in our region. It's pretty tough.
So you host 5th-seeded Damascus. Looks like that game will be on Saturday now. So what's your approach going into this? Because as far as the way that you fared against the county, no blemishes on the record whatsoever. But when you look at those games against the section and against the region, that's where it's gotten very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult to play those teams in Frederick and Montgomery County, those teams down there, especially the challenges Damascus is going to give us. They're very athletic. They're aggressive. They play tough. They're a different kind of challenge that we've seen in a lot of our county games.
And when you scout for a game like this, it's an unfamiliar opponent in a lot of ways. Do you focus more on then what your team can do well versus worrying about what the other team might do to you?
Well, it's an interesting situation because in the playoffs you have about a week to prepare.
Right.
So really you kind of go all in. You work on their out-of-bounds plays, work on their offenses, the type of defenses they're going to play against you. So you're probably more prepared, and they're probably more prepared than they've ever been all season. I think you still have to worry about yourself and worry about how you prepare, but it also gives you a longer time period to figure out what they do well.
And over the last 4 years, I think it's safe to say that the calling card at Williamsport has been defense, and just a ridiculous record when holding teams to 40 points or fewer. 61-1 now. So you don't change what you do going in, but how do you scout a team like that? How do you impart to your players what you need them to do versus what they've done during the regular season in what is a one-and-done situation?
Well, us having 9 seniors is pretty important, and I mean pretty important, meaning that they know what's at stake. I don't have to really make it more than what it is. They understand it's a one-and-done situation. They also understand that they do know the numbers. They do know 61-1 with 40 points or less. So we work on that every day. We work on man-to-man defense every day. So they understand that. I just hope that we can score 41 points maybe if we hold them under 40.
Well, that's obviously the key there. And one thing that I looked at too, it will take 5 to 6 victories to win a state championship. You have to do that consecutively. During the regular season, as far as the girls in Washington County, Williamsport, the only team to string together enough wins to pull that off in the postseason. No pressure there, Coach. I'm just saying
no pressure.
That's the case. Over in 1A West, Section 2, let's take a look at some of these matchups, starting with Boonesboro, who is the #1 seed there. Most of Boonesboro's losses this season have come outside their classification. As a matter of fact, they're 7-1 against the section this season. So I think when it comes to seeding there, probably got that right.
Yeah, and I think the key with Boonesboro is this time of year in the playoffs, you want to have good guard play. And with Ellie Connolly, KK Rogers, and a bunch of the other kids they've got a really good mix of guards. And I think those kids that have played a lot of years on varsity, this is Ellie's 4th year, KK's 2nd year, I believe, on varsity. They have to be the favorite in that 1A West.
And they get a bye into the semifinals and then a home game coming up as their first matchup. And they will take on either Smithsburg or FSK. And Smithsburg, a very familiar opponent for them. FSK, maybe the team that has the advantage of being the unknown in that section. But Boonesboro with a couple of wins over Smithsburg. But Smithsburg has been a streaky team this year. A lot of that predicated on injuries early in the season, but even here at the end of the year, long losing streak just recently coming to an end, putting together a couple of wins heading to the postseason.
I think Smithsburg's dangerous. You know, they start shooting the 3 really well. I know probably Coach Connolly at Boonesboro, that's not probably a great second round matchup for him. And then you look at the bottom, and not to jump that here a little bit, but Clear Spring could play the winner, Brunswick-Catoctin, and Brunswick-Catoctin both just beat Clear Spring. Clear Spring's a 2 seed, so that's a pretty wide open bottom bracket of that section in 1A.
Yeah, Clear Spring, an interesting team in that when you look at what their strength of schedule was this season, might not match up to a lot of those teams, and that might be why they got that 2nd seed, but now they have to use that to their advantage.
Exactly, that home court, and playing the style they play, the half-court man, they try to play like a slower tempo, but they can shoot it. Clear Spring, if they stay in a game long enough, they can shoot the ball very well. They got some really good shooters.
Over in Section 1, Hancock gets the 5 seed there, but was 0-4 this season against the region and opens at #4, Fort Hill. In 3A West, Section 2, North Hagerstown and South Hagerstown, not many wins between those two teams this season. As a matter of fact, of North's 3 wins, 2 came against South. North will be at 4th-seeded TJ to open up, went 0-2 against the Patriots. Has North gotten better, though, as the season has gone along?
Absolutely, they've gotten better. And the one thing about North, they're young too. I don't know if they've got, maybe they have 1 senior. And so they're only going to get better. The one thing with that 3A West, with having Linganore and Frederick, those are 2 monster teams. You know, they gave Middletown in our region their first loss. Linganore did. So Linganore and Frederick will probably be the matchup there to decide who goes to the states from that region.
And South Hagerstown has not won a game since February 16th of last year. They'll start at Tuscarora. South coming in 0-22. As for your Williamsport team, best of luck coming up on Saturday. And I know after that first game, you don't want to look ahead, but the top seed Poolesville lurks after that. So whoever comes out of that region obviously is going to have earned it. Again, thanks for being here.
Thanks for allowing me to come in, Wes. Appreciate it.
I'll be back right after this. Boys basketball and a playoff look ahead is next with Coach Ryan Grable of Williamsport in just a moment.
Antietam Broadband's Flight Gigabit service is ultra high-speed internet delivered by a direct fiber connection. We are one of the few communities in the country to have it. But what does it mean? It means businesses will want to move here, which means more jobs, better jobs. It means access to world-class infrastructure for healthcare, education, and nonprofits. It means enhanced social and economic well-being. That's why it won the 2017 Leading Edge Award from the Chamber of Commerce. Flight Gigabit from Antietam Broadband, changing how people connect.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We continue with more playoff basketball now, and our preview of the boys brings Williamsport head coach Ryan Grable to the show. Welcome back, Coach.
Thanks for having us, Wes. Appreciate it.
It's great to see you. I know you have to be pretty pleased with where you are right now, 17-5 at this juncture, and earning a #1 seed in 2A West Section 2. Yeah. Tell me about how that benefits you.
Well, if you take care of business, you're at home for a while, and it's always great to play on your home court in front of your fans. Your kids are a little bit more pumped up, and you know, we worked hard to get in this position. We've played pretty well as of late, so we're right where we need to be, but it's one game at a time.
Yeah, 6-game winning streak coming into the playoffs. Does that mean anything once that first game rolls around?
It doesn't really mean anything except that maybe you're playing better and you handled your business. I think the Clear Spring game was a big eye-opener for us, the game you guys televised. We didn't really, I think, play with the energy we needed to, and I thought they wanted it more. So it kind of let me lock in at practice and kind of have their attention, and we played pretty well since then.
I know seniors are a big emphasis when you get to the postseason, but a couple of sophomores for you have been playing extremely well. Can you hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Lincoln and Caleb Bowers, primary ball handlers. They've been playing well. We ask them to do a ton, from score to get other people involved, to be our primary ball handlers, to defend, to rebound. Specifically on Lincoln's end, he's got to do a little bit of everything. But they've been progressing nicely. I think playing as freshmen last year on the varsity has been a good experience for them. And they both play in the offseason a ton of travel ball against better competition. So they might be sophomores grade level-wise, but I kind of feel more confident with them.
Is it tough for you when you get that first-round bye to not necessarily know who that first opponent is? Because when Coach Murphy was here talking about the girls, he says, you know, we have about a week to prepare for this game, and it goes both ways for both teams.
Absolutely.
But for you, you don't necessarily know who your next opponent will be.
We don't know who we're playing, and we haven't played since last Thursday. So I don't know if that's 8-9 days, and it's a fine line between being fresh but still pushing yourself to stay in shape, and it's really tough. I've talked to, you know, Coach Murphy, older Coach Murphy, talked to a lot of coaches around the area the last few years about how do you stay fresh but still stay competitive. So we'll prepare us for the first part of the week, and then as we have a better feel Friday night after we scout who we play, then we'll start preparing for them.
Well, let's look at some of the other playoff matchups over in 1A West. We got another #1 seed in Section 2 there, and you mentioned Clear Spring. Yes. A team obviously who has an awful lot of potential. And when we were doing the game on Friday night, Coach Brown was talking about potential and saying that's something that you don't want to leave behind you when the season ends. You don't want to be that team who had potential, but you don't get there and realize your potential. What's something that you saw with them during the season that perhaps they need to bring together?
I think they need to play their game, use their size. Their size is just tremendous between Connor Michael and Ty Davis. But the key to them is just Jarrett Lozich. Make sure you're running everything through him because he's a bulldog. He's got that winner's mentality. Everybody would like to coach a Jarrett Lozich. Just play their game. Prepare for everybody, but know that if they go in and play their game, they're going to be a pretty tough out and they're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, they're the only team in that section with a record of 500 or better. Yet they've lost twice to Brunswick, who is the #2 seed.
Yeah.
As a head coach, that's plenty of motivation, I think, because if you see 1 and 2 eventually come together, this team's beaten us twice. That's not going to happen on our home floor, right?
Right, yeah. If I'm John, I'm telling them, you know, they got to come play us. They got us twice in the regular season, but that's kind of a motivational tool. Yeah. They're going one game at a time. Be ready for Brunswick when that time comes, but that's your motivational tool. You're ace in the hole. that when it's time to play, you can keep your guys pretty motivated that way.
The number 4 seed, Smithsburg, a team that seemingly, I think, could be dangerous, but
Absolutely.
man, they just have not been able to put it together on a regular basis. But when you get into the playoffs, you come up and you put a few good games together,
Correct.
all of a sudden you're hot at the right time.
Smithsburg's always tough in the playoffs. Coach Gerber always has them ready, and guards matter in the playoffs, and they have 2 good ones between Snyder and Cutchy. Cutchy's played a lot of varsity basketball, and Snyder's one of those guys that can get up and guard you, make some plays. He's left-handed, kind of unconventional. So when you have good guards, you're always ready to play in the playoffs.
And it's either Smithsburg or Catoctin who
Right.
would be the potential opponent for Clear Spring in its opening round game. That is, once we get to the semifinals. Boonesboro 0-22 at FSK. But I'm thinking to myself, is there a more dangerous team than a team who doesn't have a win going into the postseason when all of a sudden all the records become 0-0
Correct.
again?
They have no pressure on them, and I can speak on experience. They improved a ton from the first time to the second time we played them, so that's a credit to Coach Dinnerman. They have seniors too, not a ton, and nobody wants to go out, as early as possible. So their guys are going to play hard, and I would say they're dangerous as well.
Over in 3A West Section 2, let's see, North versus South. You don't have to say a whole lot about that game, but I think for Coach Brashears, it probably bodes better for him than it does for Coach Hartman in terms of who the pressure's on.
Right, and I know from experience, and we might deal with this, it's tough to beat a team 3 straight times, and I talked to both of them. I talked to Coach Hartman last Thursday, and then I talked to Chad briefly this weekend. That's going to be fun. That's going to be so fun for the kids, and you hate to have them match up like that, but it's exciting for the community. It's going to probably just be, who wants it more? Whose kids want to keep playing? And, this is a game they're going to remember for a long time.
Yeah, North won both regular season games, but Friday night at North Hagerstown, again, you can throw all of that out.
It's going to be electric. It's going to be so fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that should be an awesome matchup. Now, your team was 9-3 at home during the regular season. We talked about what kind of an advantage that is, but 8 of 11 teams with records of 500 or better. Is there a tougher region in the state than 2A West right now?
I know football would say there's not, but it's going to be a battle every night, and it's going to come down to the little things. Who's making free throws? Who's taking care of the basketball? Who's rebounding? And then it's going to be a 1-2 possession game. Who wants it more? And I know that's coach talk and coaches speak, but that truly matters. It could be one loose ball. It could be one play throughout the game. And I know we have a lot of respect for everybody in our region, so we know we're going to have to play well.
Well, best of luck throughout the playoffs and hopefully making a deep run there at Williamsport. Thanks for being here, Coach.
Thanks, Wes. Appreciate it.
Next week on the show, postseason basketball results and region wrestling too. That and much, much more. That's next week. Thanks for watching this time, and I'll see you then on The Inside.
Hey, your sisters and your brothers, your haters and your lovers, you gotta get up in the streets